and stay safe. From KCRG TV 9, this is First Alert Weather Now.
And good evening, folks. It is Monday, and it's time for another edition of First Alert Weather Now. I'm meteorologist Thompson.
And I'm meteorologist Hannah Messier.
And welcome. And the week started off, I'd say, pretty nice weather-wise. We had a little bit of a gloomy Sunday, but then we kicked out of it with more sunshine today.
Yeah, it was a beautiful Veterans Day across eastern Iowa. We had nice skies. We had temperatures pretty fall-like across the area. Couldn't complain too much.
Yeah, I was saying, considering how Veterans Day can go sometimes weather-wise, it can be colder, it can be snowing. So we'll take the sunshine and chilly morning temperatures for those observances early on.
Speaking of chilly morning temperatures, I think I heard tomorrow looks kind of chilly in the morning.
It does indeed, and we'll have a bit more detail on that coming up, as well as a sort of infamous historic blizzard which took place this day in history, called the Armistice Day blizzard, many years ago, well before you and I were born, but still its echoes linger now, even in current day. So we'll even dive into that.
I'm excited to hear about it.
But first, what you need to know as we step outside this evening is that we will keep things pretty quiet for the rest of your Monday. It will get chilly, as Hannah said. Temperatures will fall pretty steadily overnight, and so do be ready for that in the morning on Tuesday. Coat probably necessary by then. By the afternoon, though, we'll be about back where we were today. So not that bad. Considering the time of year, weather of that sort is pretty excellent. Later in the week, we have some more rain chances. The first one arrives as soon as Wednesday. Our weather pattern stays generally active, although it does look like precipitation amounts over the next several days won't be quite as heavy as we've seen recently. Now tonight, high pressure is in control. We're going to have a light northeasterly wind as we head through the night, but it's going to be not a huge factor. The bigger factor will be the clear skies and calm conditions. You can see on our Solon City Cam the flag that's on the left side of your screen there in that park near the corner, not moving very much. So winds have already calmed down quite a bit after what was a somewhat breezy day today. Now temperatures down to 41 in Cedar Rapids, 38 in Waterloo. Again, those winds about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And that's about as strong as they will be as we go through the night. Those numbers continue to get smaller and smaller, close to the upper 20s by the time we wake up on Tuesday.
Yeah, that is pretty chilly. We've had some chilly mornings already this year, and I guess this is going to be one of them.
Yeah, expect some frosty conditions. You park outside, you might have to break out the scraper again if you haven't already.
Breaking out the scraper. I haven't had to do that yet this year.
Well, it may be coming sooner than later as you look ahead. Now, we, of course, still have things going on. We're post-Halloween now, so events have perhaps quieted down a little, but that doesn't mean we don't have any. And First Alert meteorologist Joe Winters has today's forecast for fun.
We begin another week in November, heading toward the mid part of the month, about 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving, but lots of things going on before we get to our holiday. Biking, while the trails may have some leaves on them from time to time, the weather is cooperating for those of you that like to get out. Temperatures in the lower 50s in the afternoon with sunshine Tuesday, and again Thursday may be a nice day to hit the trail. As we look ahead, the Festival of Trees, that comes up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Lyndale Mall. It's the Jingle Mingle on Thursday, Sensory Day on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, lots of great things. Of course, inside, all the activities will be dry. Outside, mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies, temperatures mid to upper 50s, and some rain possible as we head into our Sunday. 'Tis the season kickoff in downtown Iowa City. That comes up on Friday. It's a pop-up market with a kids market as well. Christmas tree sales, trolley rides, free cider, holiday lights will be turned on for the first time. Southeast winds at 5 to 10. Temperatures fall from the 50s through the mid-40s. And not to be outdone, the Fall Luminary Walk. That happens at Morgan Creek Park. That also comes up on Friday between 5 and 7 o'clock. It's a family-friendly, self-guided walk. The best thing is they've got a campfire, so you can make some s'mores with southeast winds at 5 to 10. Just remember, you have to bring your own ingredients for the s'mores to happen, so bring that along for the Luminary Walk. That's the look at our mid-November forecast for fun.
Now, your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Hannah Messier.
Speaking of fun, we have more holidays coming up. Thanksgiving, again, 16 days away, but the first day of winter only 40 days away, so it's going to start to get colder out there. This is what it looks like on our Coralville City Cam. As Corey mentioned, the winds have appeared to die down. Temperatures are in the upper 30s and low 40s, 38 in Waterloo, 41 in Cedar Rapids, with winds mainly coming out of the north around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Your first alert has all green boxes highlighted on it. We're not expecting any impacts for tonight and into the day tomorrow. This is what it looks like on our satellite and radar. Just a couple of clouds really in our south zone along and south of Highway 30. These are going to continue to move to the south, and overnight tonight we're looking at a mostly clear sky. That mostly clear sky is going to allow temperatures to plummet. We're talking seasonal temperatures in the upper 20s and low 30s, 28 in Fayette, 30 in Tama, 30 in Washington, with winds coming out of the northeast at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Now, highs for tomorrow will climb into the 40s and 50s. That's also pretty seasonal for mid-November. 48 in Fayette, 51 in Waterloo, and 51 in Washington, with sunny skies and winds coming out of the southeast. Now we have that clear sky tonight and sunshine in the forecast for tomorrow. Winds coming mainly out of the east. We're going to have a couple of clouds possible for around midday, but those won't last too long. Headed into Tuesday night, we see pretty quiet conditions. However, by Wednesday morning, notice off to the west of I-35, we've got some showers developing. Those showers are going to move gradually east into the area by Wednesday afternoon. So Wednesday looks like it's going to be another kind of gray day, especially in the afternoon and evening, with rain continuing into Wednesday night. Now, even though rain is in the forecast, not much in terms of accumulations is expected, with scattered activity expected and accumulations expected to stay on the light side. In addition, we have some seasonal air sticking around. The cooler temperatures we're seeing for Tuesday likely going to continue through most of the work week. However, Friday will be a little bit on the warm side. Now, speaking of Friday, we have in our 9-day forecast temperatures in the 50s, 50 degrees on Wednesday. There's that chance for some scattered showers. 52 on Thursday, with overnight temperatures in the 30s and 40s for the most part, except for tonight, which is going to be a little bit on, again, the cool side. We are going to be in the upper 50s for Friday, mostly sunny skies, partly cloudy on Saturday, seeing some chances for some scattered showers on Sunday, with overnight temperatures staying in the 30s and 40s.
Not too bad overall, I would say. Again, it's November, so we are in that time of year where things should be feeling a little bit cooler. Now, unfortunately, we had a pretty serious weather event earlier this year, serious tornadoes in western Iowa.
Yeah, tonight a hospital in Greenfield is back open after a powerful EF4 tornado damaged it. The tornado killed 4 people and hurt dozens more back in May.
And this is what it looked like when the storm first hit the town. You can see people cleaning up the immediate aftermath, roads blocked, houses destroyed in these situations. Bo Bowman with our Des Moines affiliate KCCI shows us what it looks like now.
Where I'm standing right here is the direct path of the tornado. You can still see some of the damage and some of the reconstruction, but you can also see how close the hospital was to taking a direct hit. 6 months later, they're reopened.
Had that tornado been any closer to our hospital or hit us directly, this entire building would be gone.
The 74-year-old building is still standing after the tornado, but CEO Catherine Hillestad says the interior needed to be gutted.
Essentially tearing the building down to its bare bones and then putting it back together.
Over the summer, the hospital cared for patients at Nottoway Valley schools.
I just need to go down the line. Yep.
But Monday, hospital staff can finally say the 2 words they've been waiting for: welcome home.
We wanted to get open as quickly as possible, so I think that was the hardest part. If you think about it, I don't think the level of construction we had could be done in 6 months in most places.
The building's lab was destroyed, along with many of the machines used to conduct tests. Hallways that were filled with water and debris are newly renovated. Almost 6 months since a deadly storm crippled the community and limited their access to proper health care. The only sign of the storm left in the building are the ones now directing people to safety. Houses are beginning to pop up, and the hospital is ready again for anything.
I think that is just a testament to our community members and how they support us, and how important it is to have a healthcare system in a rural spot.
The hospital is going to host a formal ribbon cutting event. That's going to happen on December 4th, and the public is invited to come and celebrate with them. In Greenfield, Bo Bowman, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Strong winds and dry conditions are fueling wildfires on the east and west coasts. It includes the Jennings Creek, which has burned more than 3,000 acres near the New York-New Jersey border. An 18-year-old forest ranger died fighting that fire over the weekend. The New Jersey Forest Fire Service says it has responded to 537 wildfires as of yesterday. That's nearly 500 more than in the same period last year.
It's hard to see this. It's harder, I think, today for me than it was even a few days ago to wrap my head around the gravity of what has happened to our home.
In California, the mountain fire has burned more than 20,000 acres and destroyed more than 170 structures. Calmer weather over the weekend allowed firefighters to get containment up to 36%. Some pretty scary fires over there, Corey.
Yeah, that is not what you want to see, and especially in a place that hasn't seen it recently or like in modern times over in the New Jersey, New York area. I saw over the weekend details about like smoke that was coming from those fires moving across the city, and yeah, that's not a great place to see that.
No, absolutely not. But you have a different type of weather to discuss with us today.
Very much so. A bit more appropriate for the season, perhaps. This date, a long time ago, we're talking 1940. Back when Veterans Day was more commonly known as Armistice Day, which of course it still is referred to as in some cases in this day and age as well, but that's when conditions were certainly a little bit different, and that's when we saw a very strong storm system move into the region, and that provided, well, a lot of snow and more perhaps notably a lot of cold air, very unusually cold air for this time of year, and so that is what became known as the Armistice Day blizzard. This caused a lot of disruption in so many places. Here's the area of low pressure as it was on November 11th, 1940. It was centered around just southeast of the Twin Cities after trekking across Iowa. It's this gray path here in the dotted lines that take it through the Rocky Mountains down toward the Panhandle area of Oklahoma. So we call this a Panhandle hook storm, and that's the path that really does often provide a pretty significant winter storm when ingredients are just right. Now, the track of it kept the heaviest snow to the northwest of the TV9 viewing area, but certainly affected portions of Iowa and Minnesota. Here in the eastern half of the state, we still got the very, very strong winds that led in behind this cold front that swept through during the day on November 11th. Now, some of those winds were 40 to 50 miles per hour sustained, reports of gusts that were 60 to 70 miles per hour, and that's without thunderstorms. Remember, those are just winds that are just kind of out in the ambient open and causing a lot of problem. And that problem was very much exacerbated by the amount of snow that fell on the northwest side of the system. Now, a broad swath of Iowa saw at least a little bit of wintry precipitation, either snow. There was reports of sleet as far east of the Mississippi River, too, as temperatures dropped. 10 plus inches of snow was common in central Minnesota, but even some isolated totals in northwest Iowa exceeded 10 inches. They just weren't as widespread as a little bit farther to the north. Now, here's the temperature drop for the day. This is for Cedar Rapids. Reports from the media around that time. 52 degrees observed in the morning at 8:30. That is quite warm for that time of day for this time of year. Remember, we've been seeing highs in the 50s during the afternoon, and even those are a bit on the warm side. Now, as the winds kicked in from the northwest, temperatures dropped to 11 degrees by 7 o'clock, and that fall continued a little bit later into the night. It was about 7 degrees by midnight that night, and we saw much colder temperatures hang around for a period of days. In fact, in Waterloo, the record low highs for the dates following on the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th still stand as records. So those days only got into the teens by the afternoon. And so, yeah, that really did harm further recovery efforts. Now, details about this storm. That's when many people were actually out enjoying the holiday. We had people out hunting ducks, believe it or not. They saw birds arrive before the storm arrived in the calm ahead of the storm. And so people took advantage of the holiday and went out. Now, unfortunately, weather forecasts at the time were not as great, and so they weren't ready for the big change. And so duck hunters were not dressed appropriately. They didn't take the appropriate measures once the wind started to pick up. And so unfortunately, that left them at times stranded on islands in the Mississippi River, unable to get back to shore. Some drowned when duck blinds collapsed on them. At least 4 people were killed in Iowa, many others hospitalized from exposure. Now, around the Midwest, rescue efforts, again, were hampered by continual strong winds. Those gusts stayed strong for at least another day after this. This is the Cedar Rapids Gazette headline in November 12th, so the day after the storm really made its way through the region. On the 13th, a little bit of detail about hunters that were rescued, but in addition, of course, to those 4 from Iowa that were killed. Now, unfortunately, in total, between 145 to 155 people were killed based on various reports. The number varies a little bit. Livestock also heavily affected, unfortunately. Hundreds of thousands of turkeys right ahead of Thanksgiving were killed by the storm. Transportation was heavily affected too, of course, with blizzard conditions. And again, the forecasts that were kind of the issue here. They just weren't available, as widely available at the time. And the 5-day forecasts were only issued twice per week by a regional forecast center instead of like the individual National Weather Service offices we have doing it every day, several times a day. So the Weather Bureau, which was not yet named the National Weather Service, did increase staffing to 24 hours a day after the storm because of that impact. So it did actually alter the trajectory of that. One fact that I found with this system that moved through, it heavily damaged apple trees in central Iowa. Iowa used to be a big apple producer. The Red Delicious apple was created in the state. But because of that damage and because of the things that were going on in the world at the time, the United States was not yet in World War II, but it was ongoing in Europe. There were certain restrictions and needs for the people at the time. And so a lot of those apple orchards, instead of having to wait several years for those trees to come back, they turned into regular farm fields, and so the apple industry in Iowa kind of shrunk because of this one system.
Wow, that's quite an impactful storm. You got the apples, you have those duck hunters who, if I woke up and saw temperatures in the 50s and hadn't looked at the forecast or didn't have one available, I would think it would be a good day to be out. So that, and the National Weather Service updating it to 24 hours a day, it's a big thing. Oftentimes with these snowstorms, it seems like the winds are a huge impact because of the blowing snow and because they bring in that really cold air. What a temperature drop. 50s all the way down to the single digits in 24 hours.
Yeah, and some reports, again, observations and reports weren't as widespread or as timely at the time, but some of those media reports suggested that the initial temperature drop was on the order of 20 or 30 degrees within a couple of hours. And so that what we saw over the course of the day was especially sharp immediately. So that put you below freezing in a big hurry. And with those winds, like waves on the Mississippi were several feet high. And so, yeah, if you're using a small boat, you probably couldn't make it out. And then even officials that were trying to rescue these folks had trouble. So people had to make do overnight in some cases to be able to be rescued once the winds died down.
And I doubt they brought like winter gear for single digits in a day like that.
Yeah, not at all. So sticky situation. Luckily, forecasts have improved. Our preparation for these sorts of things have improved a lot. So lessons learned, at least, were taken into consideration and applied to the future. And
that's the important part, learning from the mistakes after these big storms. Luckily, there's no big storms in our 9-day forecast. We have the next several days, temperatures in the 50s, a little bit above normal for this time of year, but not crazily so. We have for our Wednesday, we're expecting just some scattered showers in the area. We do have a chance for rain in the middle of the week, not excessively so though, just some light scattered showers all across the area for the middle of the week. Then Thursday and Friday look pretty dry. Temperatures will rise just a little bit at the end of the week. Most of the week is going to stay pretty seasonal with some cooler air in the area. However, again, as we head past Wednesday and Thursday, we are going to be a little bit on the warm side considering it is November. And lastly, we are going to take a look at this upcoming weekend where we have some football to look forward to. We've got some college football. Iowa State and UNI will be playing in very fall-like conditions. Now, there is a slight chance for some showers again on Sunday, but that is several days out, so we'll provide updates to that forecast. And again, overnight temperatures in the 30s and 40s, except for tonight, we're going to cool into the upper 20s.
Yep, coolest night of the next several, it looks like. And we'll have to keep an eye toward the tail end of that 9-day. Temperatures look like they could turn a little bit colder there. We may actually dip into the 40s for highs by that point.
Ooh, and that is what we're supposed to see in November.
That's true.
But it might catch me a little bit off guard if I forget my jacket that day.
For sure. But that's why we keep you posted here in the TV9 Weather Lab in the First Alert Storm Team. And that's why we're here every night as well. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be back here tomorrow night, same time, same place. And have a good rest of your night.